Imagine a quiet living room in the English countryside, where an old television set is dusted but still plugged in. Its screen dark, but the echoes of a familiar, cheerful voice lingering in the air, the same voice that once led millions of viewers on sun-drenched journeys to far-off resorts, that made suitcase dreams feel possible even in the grayest of British winters. Judith Chalmers, the beloved British television presenter best known for her long-running stint on ITV's travel show Wish You Were Here, has passed away at the age of 90, leaving behind a legacy of optimism, charm, and a lifetime of adventures that many only ever experienced through the television screen. She died on the evening of May 21st, 2026, at her home, surrounded by the people who loved her most, after a long and gentle battle with Alzheimer's disease, a condition that slowly dimmed the bright mind that had once charmed the nation, but never fully erased the warmth that defined her presence. The news of her death, shared by her family and confirmed by outlets such as the BBC and the Daily Telegraph, carried not just the fact of her passing, but a quiet tribute to the life she had lived, a life that spanned more than 6 decades in broadcasting, from the early days of radio to the golden age of television travel shows. Her family described her final years as a continuation of the same journey that had defined her career. Filled with grace, with dignity, and with love, even in the face of the quiet, creeping fog of memory loss. For many viewers, the idea that Judy Chalmers was no longer there to guide them through those sun-drenched postcards, to promise them packages and holidays with her signature smile, felt like a loss of something deeply familiar, the kind of loss that does not come with a bang, but with a quiet, almost imperceptible shift in the air. Judith Chalmers was born on October 10, 1935, in Manchester, England, a place that by all appearances might have seemed like an ordinary industrial city, but that produced a woman whose life would become anything but ordinary. Her early years were shaped by the rhythms of a working-class city, the kind of environment where the idea of a glamorous career in television might have felt like a distant dream, a fantasy that belonged to the big houses and the big studios far away from the neighborhood she knew. Yet, somehow, through talent, through luck, through a quiet determination that she never really announced, she found her way into the world of broadcasting, a world that would become her home, her stage, and her life's work. Her journey began in radio, where she hosted programs such as Woman's Hour and Family Favorites, the kind of shows that were woven into the fabric of everyday life, that became the soundtrack to breakfasts, to commutes, to the quiet hours of the day when people needed a voice to keep them company. As television grew, so did her presence, until she became one of the most recognizable faces on ITV, the network that brought her into the living rooms of the country with a kind of reliability that felt almost comforting. Wish You Were Here became her signature show, a travel program that offered viewers a glimpse of the kinds of holidays that they might never actually take, but that they could still watch and still dream about, as if the camera were taking them along for the ride. Judy, with her neat haircut, her crisp enunciation, and her ever-present smile, became the voice of that dream, the woman who could sell the idea of the perfect holiday with a sentence, a glance, and a set of notes that never quite had to be read, because they were already written in the way she moved, the way she spoke, the way she smiled. Off the screen, her life was quieter, but no less meaningful. She was married to Neil Durden-Smith, a television producer who shared her world of broadcast, a life that moved around networks, studios, and the quiet chaos of making television that felt like it was being made in someone's living room. The couple had 2 children, Mark and Matthew, who grew up with a mother whose life was lived between rehearsals, travel reports, and the quiet moments of family life that are often invisible to the public eye. Her husband and her sons, in the years leading up to her death, became her primary caregivers, the people who watched as the disease slowly took her from the busy world of the studio to the quiet world of the home. The people who, in the years when she could no longer recognize the names of the resorts she had once helped to sell, still recognized in her the same warmth, the same kindness, the same quiet courage. Estimates of her net worth, which are not widely documented, place her somewhere in the low to mid seven-figure range, reflecting a long career in television, radio, and occasional acting roles, including a memorable appearance in Absolutely Fabulous, the movie, as well as work in films and television series that capitalized on her recognizable voice and face. The figure is not particularly large in the way that modern media empires are measured, but it reflects a life of steady work, of a career that never really ended, even when the nature of the work changed, even when the cameras stopped rolling, even when the world of travel that she had once helped to sell no longer seemed quite the same. Her lifestyle, looked at as a whole, was one of quiet comfort, of a woman who lived in a home that was filled with the memories of her work, with the photographs that showed her on beaches and studios in front of cameras, but that also held a more private collection of family photos, the ones where she was simply a mother, a wife, and a grandmother, the roles that for many mattered more than all the titles that television could give her. In her final years, the Alzheimer's that had slowly taken hold of her mind did not erase the way people remembered her. Instead, it created a kind of quiet, personal tragedy, the kind that happens not in the headlines, but in the living rooms, the hospital corridors, the conversations between family members who have to re-explain who they are every day to the person who once knew them by heart. The story of her final illness, as described by her son Mark, was one of quiet dignity, of a woman who lived an extraordinary life, who had been surrounded by the people she loved, and who had passed away with the same grace that had defined her public persona. Her death, in that sense, was not a surprise, but a quiet, almost inevitable end to a life that had already been lived to its fullest, one that had taken her to the farthest corners of the world and then brought her back to the quiet center of her family. If her story, her voice, or the image of the woman who once promised millions of viewers that the perfect holiday was just a phone call away still feels present to you, if the idea of a life lived in the service of entertainment, of a career that brought joy to other people without ever demanding recognition for itself, moves you, please consider giving this video a like and sharing it with someone who remembers the days when travel shows were the main way to imagine a life beyond the city, beyond the routine, beyond the familiar. If you want to stay connected to stories like this one, stories of people who have left their lives behind in the quiet corners of television screens, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode.